Dementia remains an incurable illness. It's only one of the 10 major diseases that does not have any cure.
50 million people are affected by the disease today. Every year we have 10 million additional cases, equaling to 1 case every 3 seconds.
The process of the Alzheimer's disease, the neurodegeneration, that's not reversible. So when the neurons die, you can't replace them at the moment. So there is no such treatment in which you can replace the neurons.
Alzheimer's Research UK fund all aspects of understanding both dementia and understanding the diseases that underpin dementia, all the way from basic research to early clinical trials. One thing we like to fund, and we do very little in this space at the moment, is diagnosis, and particularly early diagnosis. So we're putting a lot of emphasis into this space at the moment.
Our test focuses on brain at its entirety and connectivity. We get key parts of the brain and large part of the brain activated during the test, and that's why the test is more sensitive to less deterioration. So we can pick up the disease a lot earlier than others can do.
The test is conducted on an iPad, a common piece of hardware. It is fast and sensitive and is vitally unsupervised, which saves a lot of time and money in terms of administration for healthcare professionals.
The test is so simple that it can be similar to a blood pressure test that can be run on regular basis, annual basis, to spot any irregular changes in the patients.
It is entirely independent of language and education, which is very crucial as it can be applied to the wider populations.
In order to get an early diagnostic test, one has to take the test longitudinally and a number of times. And the problem with most tests is that they have learning bias. So as soon as you do the test once, you've learnt the task, and so the next time you do the test, you've already got a learning bias. Cognitivity's test isn't like that. It has no learning bias, and I think that's probably because it's not a memory test, it's not a learning test, it's a cognitive function test.
This is a very important thing. As subjects get better at tests through learning, this disguises the effects that you're trying to measure.
So it uses higher cognitive function, it uses visual acuity, and then it uses motor function. So it does use all those higher structures of the brain, but not for memory.
Other important features of the test involve the way we have designed the test. With its client cloud server architecture, we are able to integrate with data platforms that are used by healthcare professionals.
One of the key ones is the ability to link ICA with electronic health records. This is very important because we can now make sense of lots of physical and medical data that we've collected over the years in order to make a connection with our mental health, something which might have happened 10 years ago and we didn't know the impact today now can be understood a lot better.
Our use of artificial intelligence in the processing of data is a very important aspect of the test.
So the more data we collect, the more we train the AI engine with new data points. So the test can teach itself, can learn and become more experienced, like a human being that, by seeing more patients, he can get more experience. The same can happen with this test.
I think what Cognitivity have in terms of their test is something that no other cognitive test has got.
It offers high-resolution monitoring at home and in the clinic, and it's the first significant step towards genuinely personalized care.
And if it truly is as sensitive as I think it might be, then rather than diagnosing when patients already have memory loss and problems with thinking and real cognitive dysfunction, it will take the diagnosis way back, like 5, 10, maybe even 15 years early. And then the other important aspect about that is if you take the test that far back, all of these people are pre-symptomatic. So they've no symptoms. So how do you then apply a test? And some of the diagnostic tools we use now, like imaging, potentially they could pick up disease 15 years earlier. But there's an enormous cost to PET imaging, there's enormous infrastructure involved. You'd never roll that out on a population-wide basis. But because this test is so simple, it can be done on an iPad, it can probably be done on a phone, you can roll it out on a population-wide basis. And because you can do that, then you can have lots of people do it as an annual check or do it at home, and you can roll it out into a pre-symptomatic population. That detects people at risk, and then you can triage those people into much more detailed and clinical diagnostic testing. So unless we diagnose early, I don't think we'll have effective treatments, and if we don't get effective treatments, the prognosis for patients is going to remain exactly where it is now, which is horrendously poor.
We want your help in the form of partnership, collaboration, or investment. If you're interested, please get in touch.